So this was the time when I was working in more media. So it was around news collection and news distribution for United Press International, UPI. Um, and their challenge was, how do you collect and distribute news? So you've got to cast your mind back to about 30 years ago, and email didn't really exist. It's a lot of the technology we had. So this was kind of a significant problem. And I remember, so one evening we were sitting around as a team, as a consultant at the time. We were looking at their news gathering organization, and they had a news somebody to gather news in a place called Waco in Texas. And we looked at each other, why would you do that? What could happen in Waco in Texas, which is of international importance that the world would want to know about? And the very next week, there was this chap called David Koresh, and he was visited by the federal forces, and what resulted was a 51-day siege, and what was referred to as the now as the Waco siege or Waco massacre, and I think 76 Branch Davidians died. So we got that one wrong, but I'll pick up on what Matt says about broadband. Back 25 years ago, it was clearly going to be an impactful thing, but not clear how impactful it was going to be. I think I was one of the first 1,000 broad ADSL customers in the UK. And what I did is I got a video on demand service, and it had a side channel of 115 kilobits, which was always on internet. And that's the bit I wanted. It meant I could sit at home with my email always on. And we've come a very long way since then.
Can I just interject there as well? I was doing a bit of work supporting another analyst from another firm who I won't promote, but he was doing a master's degree, I think, in more or less research, more or less what we do for a living. And he wanted to talk to some people who've been around in the space for quite a long time. And so I was asking about, okay, well, what were the research methodology? What were the mechanisms that you used back in the day? And I kind of had to share that a lot of it was done over fax machine rather than email. We used to put together these questionnaires, fax them out to companies, and then you get back the next morning and hope that there was a bunch of faxes sitting on the fax machine, and you didn't get the blinking light telling you that the memory had overflowed and it hadn't been able to print them all out, and so you'd actually lost a bunch of research. So that was how we did things in '97.
Well, but the flip side to that, of course, is selling it, because you could then, having built your report and had it printed, you could then sell 30 copies of it to a large telco. You wouldn't sell 30 copies of a PDF nowadays.
This is true, but it's also changed the way that we do the research, right? You know, anybody can sit at home and do judicious Googling and call themselves an analyst. And one of the things that we tend to focus our attention on is being present, being there, going and doing the events, going and seeing the clients, the face time, and I mean that, you know, small f, small t, with the clients is a critical thing, just for demonstrating that you're having those conversations, and that you and that you're there, part of the space. It's not just sitting on the outside lobbing rocks at the industry, but it's kind of being in there and being part of it. And that's always been one of the key things that we felt differentiated us. You know, we're not just a bunch of people sat behind computers.